Okay.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. I'm now delighted to hand you back to the two people who made this meeting happen, Hugh Montgomery and Neil Morisetti, who are going to tell us what it all meant.
Fiona, thank you. I'm sorry. How do you sum all this up? I mean, we've heard a hell of a lot. I've certainly learnt a lot, and I think most people in the room have as well. I think we've reaffirmed what the problem is. I think we've reaffirmed we've got to do something about it. But I think we've also come up against this impediment. The fact is we're not doing that much about it, and there seems to be lots of obstacles in the way. But a lot of ideas have come out of today's discussion, and I'm going to try and sum them up. I've got about half a dozen. I don't think I've captured everything, but hopefully we'll get the main points. How are we going to solve this? Well, we're going to take ownership of it. Ownership of the problem and ownership of the solutions. We're going to avoid the them and us. Yes, them can be the UNFCCC, it can be politicians, it can be other organisations, and we shouldn't take the pressure off, as Tom said at the end in his last piece. But we've got to give them some ammunition. So we need to take ownership of this at a local level, at a regional level, and particularly for this audience, we need to take ownership of this as professional bodies. And that's why Hugh and I want to this conference, to get bodies together, to recognise what the issues are, what the common ground is, and how we can take the message forward about what needs to be done. And we need to get on with it. If we wait for 100% certainty in the military, we're dead. We know enough to get on and take some action. If we want to take advantage of the opportunities, there's no such thing as a free lunch. We've got to take some risk. But we need to do that. We need to expand the circle of those who are talking about these issues and start to build up that groundswell, because at the end of the day, the politicians will react to what they've been hearing as much as what's been pushed on them. Where's Edward? The bad people, actually the lobbyists. Yes, they're powerful, but they're not all powerful. There is one group who reckon they are the best lobbyists in the world, the motor car industry. If they had their way, we'd be driving cars with leaded petrol, no catalytic converters, no seat belts, no power-assisted steering. But people took them on. Oh, and by the way, there's no ashtray either now. So we can move forward. But most importantly, we've got to recognise, and I mentioned it this morning, our responsibilities to deliver a message. And the language we use to the audience has got to be a language they understand, they resonate with, and it's about their values, what they want to do. We can then exploit technology, either in delivering the messages or delivering the solutions. But we have got to talk to people and build that narrative and engage with people in a fashion that they feel comfortable with. They do not like being lectured at, and they won't react positively to that. Nobody said it was going to be easy. This is one of the most complex and challenging scenarios I've ever come across. And we do a lot of modelling in scenarios in the military. But if we get on with it, if we take some risk, if we tackle this issue, not only will we reduce the global threats to stability and security, but we'll see the benefits, both as nations, globally, and as individuals. We'll see better health. We'll see Marks and Spencer's 80 million extra on the bottom line of the balance sheet, and many other opportunities. So I would thank you for being here today. I would encourage you to get out and get on with it. Thank you.
Right, I shall be brief because there's no need to say a great deal. A brief thank you to all of you for being here, because you are largely an invited audience and you're every bit as important as any of the distinguished speakers we've had today. I'd also just like to very briefly thank Gunhilda, who personally financed this. Without that, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And actually Fiona, Geetha and Leslie and the BMJ, who've worked for this for nothing on top of their day jobs to put this on. So here's my 90-second summary of the day. The first is that climate change and its impacts are real, There's not a risk of the impacts of climate change. Those events are already here. We've seen the heat waves of 2003, the Russian fires of last summer, a fifth of Pakistan underwater last year, and today a third of Thailand inundated with water, and a complete collapse of their rice crop and that of Vietnam, threatening food security later this year. Climate change is a threat to the health of humans, to the functioning of their societies, and to the survival of individuals and of their species. And I don't think anyone should be in any doubt at the end of today of that level of gravity. Furthermore, that risk is personal, and I'm grateful to Tom Burke for contextualising that. We're on a track at the moment that could give us a temperature rise of 4 or 5 degrees, as he said, by 2060. My younger son, will be in his early 50s at that point. And that's not a world that he will survive in. I'd also like to pick up on George's point, George Polk's, about the scale of the response that we require. Now, he made the point that we need to be running at somewhere around 8 grams of carbon dioxide per dollar of GDP. Now, that's not a small difference. It's not a 0.96 or a 9.6 or even a 96% difference where we are now. It's a 96-fold difference to where we are now. And we need to make those changes, as Tom Burke said, to peak by 2015, 2020. That's 3 to 8 years' time. So the scale of what we've got to achieve is truly gargantuan. And my final comment then is what to do. And I don't know. But the one thing I have learned is that the only thing we can do is do what we're all individually very good at. So I'd hope that all of you in this audience will be reflecting now what sector you work in, what your unique skill set is, and over drinks after this, exchange the business cards, talk to people, and leave here with a consistent plan to actually do something. And even if that plan is only that you arrange to meet to set that plan in action, do it. Don't leave this auditorium with an ethereal idea that there ought to be something that maybe you'll get around to doing. Now is your opportunity to flesh it out and commit. That's it. My final thanks to all of you for coming. It's been a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hugh. Thank you very much, Neil. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to you for being here, to our sponsors and to all our partners. We didn't think this meeting would come off. It has, and we're very grateful for that. I hope you will sign the statement if you haven't done that already. I hope you will join the Climate and Health Council if you haven't done that already. And do hope you'll join us for a drink immediately afterwards downstairs. Thank you again very much for coming.